Hey you guys, it's Amy Gretchen. Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how I created day 22 from my 2018 December daily album. So I'm not going to make this from scratch, but I will show you how I put it together. Most of it is actually really easy, and the most difficult part is on the computer. So once we're done here, I will show you how I did that on the computer. But the first thing I just want you to realize is I just cut a piece of paper that was the size of a page protector. So this is 6 by 3/4 of an inch by 8 1/4 of an inch. So that's the size of the page protector. And then I created a pocket with this star acetate. This acetate is from Bella Boulevard. And I just bought a bunch one year. Like I think I bought like 5 sheets or something, so they've really lasted a long time, especially when you only just need pieces. And I just went ahead and I sewed it along the edge, and then I put holes in, just used the hole punch to add the holes in the project. So now I've got my pockets. So that's really easy to do. Then the next thing I did is I created the calendar. So this calendar, I believe, is either Paisley Press or Ali Edwards. I'm not quite sure what kit this came in, but it was a 6 by 8 size. And I just sized it down to be a 5 by 7 and I printed it out. I think I did this, I can't now remember. It's honestly been so long. There is, if you can see, you can see, there is a light gray number on each of the days that I wrote on top of, and I think I added those myself. I don't think that that was an actual file. I think I just did 1 through 30. I didn't worry about the 31. It's not a big deal because I was only really doing to 25, and you can see that I actually missed a few days anyway. And if you want to do the 31, you could half of it, half it, or you could just bring it up and put it up here. So it's just totally up to you. And I just added the numbers and then grayed them out. So just changed the opacity so they were just a little bit more gray. So this is a 5 by 7. Then this piece is actually what I'm going to show you how I created on the computer. So let's go to my computer now.
All right, you guys, so I'm starting in Photoshop, and I have on the screen a 4 by 6 card that came in Ali's Joy Story Kit from last December, so in 2018. And this Joy is what I use to create the cut file, and so we need to isolate it so that we can do that. And the first thing that we need to do in order to do that is to get rid of the background. So before I get started, I'm going to come over to my layers panel, and if this layer is locked, where you can see that it's locked here, you just need to uncheck that lock so that it unlocks this layer, and now we can work with it. I want you to come over here to the magic wand tool. So it just kind of looks like a wand with some stars. And then you can click on anywhere in the document that is the background, so the brown portion, and you can see that it's selecting a part of it. Then I'm going to right click and I'm going to come down to similar. So that's going to select all the similar colors that are similar to brown, and it's actually got a tolerance of 10, which is great. You can see that it is selecting all the brown in the file. And now I just want to go ahead and click on delete. And so now it's actually going to delete the background for us. And you can see that I've isolated this file, or this Joy, really well. So I'm going to Control or Command D just to get rid of the marching ants. So to deselect that. Now I want this Joy to be black just because it will stand out and it will be a lot easier to trace in silhouette. So we're going to change it to black. I'm going to come down here to my layers panel where it says function. So it's FX. Click on that and then come up to color overlay. And you can see that it is a green. I'm going to bring this over so you can see. Click on the colors, and then I'm just going to come down here to black, which is all zeros. And then just click OK, and you can see that now we've turned this file black. And I actually want to get rid of the middle, so I'm going to come over here to the marquee tool. I'm just going to click and drag over Life is for Living, and I'm going to hit delete. It's really that simple, and then Control or Command D to get rid of that selection. So the next thing we need to do is resize this image, because this is the width of 6 inches and the width of our calendar is only 5 inches. So we need to make it an inch smaller. So I'm going to come over here to the properties panel and I'm going to click on the width here and just change it from 6 to 5 inches and make sure that this link is connected so that these two will change together. Hit tab and then you can see that it goes ahead and makes that change. So now we're going to come back over to the move tool and I'm just going to move that into the center so it's just a little bit easier to see. And now we have it sized correctly. And now I'm actually going to Control or Command J just to duplicate that layer. So now we have a duplicate. And I'm going to actually put on here, I'm going to change it to base so we know that that is going to be our base. And I'm going to hit cancel there. All right, so the next thing that we need to do is we actually need to fill in all the holes here because we want to create this into a clipping mask. So the first thing we need to do in order to do that is we need to seal up these edges here. And it's not going to matter in the end how we seal them up or how well we do it, just because we're going to be cutting this off because this is only going to be 5 inches. So we just want to go ahead and seal those up. So I'm actually going to come over to the tools panel to brushes, and I think I'm going to go down to pencil, and I'm going to Control or Command plus because I actually want to get a really good look out of what I am doing. And I'm going to come over here to the top and I'm going to click, I want the hardness to be at 100. And I think I will do a size of 10 pixels to see what that looks like. And you know what? I think I could go up a couple more pixels. So I'm going to change it to 12. And it looks like that is just right on. So I'm going to click and I'm going to hold down the shift key and then I'm going to drag down. And as I hold down the shift key, it's going to keep it into a straight line. So that is just a quick shortcut there for you guys when you're wanting to draw a straight line. I'm going to hold down the space bar to get that hand just so I can navigate through this file so I can find the edge of the Y. And we're going to do that one more time. We're going to click, hold down the shift, and then drag. So really, like I said, we just want to seal up this portion of the letters. All right, so now we've got an enclosed letter. So we are actually going to come back over here to our quick selection tool and we're going to click on the J, and you can see that the J is highlighted. And now we want to make this white. So we want to make sure that there is white in the background. If there's not, you can hit D to get the default colors, and then you can hit X to get to your white so it's in the background. And then I'm going to do Control or Command backspace, and I thought that was going to put white in there, but actually put black in there. So I'm going to try that one more time. I'll hit X and then I'll do Control or Command backspace, and I really want it to be white, but it's going black, so we'll just go with it. Control or Command backspace, and I'm actually going to just shift click on all of these spaces, Control or Command backspace, and now everything is white. We can turn it black later. I'm not entirely sure why it was doing that, to be honest. Now we are going to go to the quick selection tool, and I'm just going to quickly select all around this letter, and you can see that it looks like it's getting a really bad selection, but it's actually not, because once I uncheck it, it's going to go right along the black edges. And the reason why I'm doing that is because there is some weird, for whatever reason, I'm seeing some weird lines here, and I don't know why it's doing that. So I'm going to get my brush tool. That is not my brush tool. I'm going to get the brush tool, which is where the pencil is at. I'm going to change this so the black is on top. So I'm going to click on X and make this brush smaller. So I'm just using the brackets to make this smaller, and I'm just going to color on it to make it smaller. And I can go outside the lines because it's going to keep the brush within the selection. And I want this brush actually to be hard so that it's easier. And I'm just cleaning up those white lines there. I could have done this with Control Backspace if I wanted to, but I'm just going to do it with this for now, just to show you how easy it is. And you can see that there is a couple white spots in the middle that we will change. And I'm going to deselect everything, so Control or Command D, and then I'm just going to use my brush to kind of fill in some of those spots. And I can see that there's stuff around the edge here. There we go, that is better. Go back to my brush tool, go all the way around. So we just want a solid piece. So now we've got a solid black piece, and I'm going to Control or Command D. So that looks good. Oh, I got a little bit right here. All right, that looks good. Now we actually want the background to be white because this is the portion that's going to print. So white will not print, so we just want to make this white. So I'm going to come down to the function. I'm going to click on Color Overlay, and then I'm going to click there and go up to white. Make sure these are all Fs or 0, 0, 100 on the hue, saturation, brightness, and click OK. And now I've got my white base that we're going to clip our words into. All right, so the next thing that I'm actually going to do is I'm going to make this into, or convert this into a smart object so that I can actually clip into it. So I'm going to I'll just click on this layer. I will come up to my menu, and then I will convert to smart object. And you can see that it actually looks white now because we've converted it into a smart object. So now we're able to clip into that. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a group. And in that group, we are going to bring in the text that we want to use. So I think when I created this, I just did my own text because I was looking for the word or the phrase that I used. And I think I did find joy or finding joy or something like that. And I couldn't find it. So I just went to this stamp set and I found this give joy. And so this is the text that I want to use, or this is what we're going to repeat. So I just brought it into the file. You can see that it's rather large, and I'm going to go to one of the corners and I'm just going to click and drag and make it a little bit smaller. So as small as you want it to go. And then I'm going to go to one of the corners again and pull out to where you've got the arrows, which look like they are connected by a curve. And I'm going to click and I'm just going to turn a little bit so we've got this word at an angle. And just do it till you think it looks good. And then I'm going to just position it over the corner here. Now there's probably better ways to do this next step, but this is how I know how to do it, and it's old school, but it works. And so it does take a little bit of time, but this is how I know how to do it, so this is how I'm going to do it. All right, so we're just going to repeat copying, pasting this file over and over and over again. All right, so now I'm going to hold down on my Alt key, and you can see that my arrows now have changed to a black and a white. That means I'm going to copy this, and now I'm just going to drag. And I'm going to keep doing that over and over again. I'm just going to click in and drag, and I'm going to fill up this document. Ugh, I don't know what just happened there. I'm going to fill up this document with words, and sometimes I'm going to move my arrow keys to help me move this around, just to, help me out, make it a little bit easier. And I'm just going to go around the whole document, and I will speed this up. I won't make you watch me do this whole thing, but just keep in mind to do like little fine details, you can use the arrow keys. And then another thing I wanted you to be aware of, if you want to like isolate one of these words, but you can see that now, let me just lift this up a little bit. you can see that now I've got a ton of copies here. So I don't know which word is which copy or which phrase is which copy. So in order to do that, I'm actually going to click on this base layer down here. I'm going to click on it and I want to lock it. So that way I'm not able to select it. And then if I hover over one of these words and I hold down the Control or Command key and I click on it, now you can see that I can select that and move it around. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to do Control or Command Z. But that's an easy way to be able to select something that you may not be able to find in the layers panel. So again, I'm just going to keep going around and I will speed through it and then I will come back when I'm done. All right, so I think I've got everything filled up. I'm just kind of looking to see if there's any holes that I want to fill in on the sides. And you can tell that this isn't a perfect job. This is kind of sloppy. There's a lot more space here than there is here. And I kind of like the look of that. If you want it to be more perfect, you might want to actually do this with the file perfectly straight. And then once you have everything together, then you can make it diagonal. But I kind of like it when it has this feel to it. All right, so now that we have everything the way that we like it and all the words the way that we like it, we're actually going to click on the very top and we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom. And I meant to put this in the group layer, so it's fine that we didn't. I'm going to shift click on the very bottom one, and now I'm actually going to merge them all together. All right, so you want to make sure to only merge the layers if you have everything exactly how you want them to be, because you won't be able to change that. You can erase some stuff, but you won't be able to move any of these pieces around if you merge everything together, because now it's all in one layer. All right, so since we didn't use this group, I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. So now we want to clip the text into the joy. So I'm going to make sure that I'm on the text layer, come up here to my menu and come down to create clipping mask. And now you can see that the text has clipped into the joy, and I want you to see what it's going to look like when we have the joy on top. So that's what it's going to look like when we've got the cut file on top of the text. So the next step is actually to take this eyeball and uncheck it and go ahead and print this off on vellum. So obviously the white isn't going to print off, just the color underneath it if it's black, or whatever you want to choose to make the type, whatever color you want it to be. Just go ahead and print that out onto vellum. I really like it onto vellum, but you could do acetate, you could do any other colored cardstock you want, just totally up to you. And once you have that printed out, then we need to take this layer. So I'm just going to highlight it one more time. Take this layer and we need to bring it into the silhouette. So I'm going to come over here to my file, and I'm actually just going to make a new file for this, and we will have it be a 4x6 because that's fine. It doesn't matter what size it is. And I'm going to just go over to my original file, click on this layer where the cut file is at. And then I'm just going to drag it right into the file. And now you can see that I've got this really great black and white image that I'm going to be able to trace in Silhouette. Then I'm going to click on it and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save it. Just save it right to my desktop, and I'm going to call it Joy. And I want it to be a JPEG, not a Photoshop file. We need to be able to open this up in Silhouette or whatever program you are using. And we're just going to go ahead and minimize Photoshop, and you can see that I have Silhouette running in the background. So now we're just going to click on the open folder here because we're going to open a document, and I'm just going to drag over this Joy that we had on our desktop. And I think it should open. Actually, I'm just going to, instead of doing the open, I'm just going to drag it from the desktop and bring it in. And you can see that this is actually a really large file because this red line is a 12 by 12 inch piece of paper. So if I click on this joy, you can see that the width is actually 25 by 16.6, which is kind of crazy. So we need to size it down so it's 5 inches. And we want to make sure that this lock is locked so that it will constrain the proportions. So we're going to click on joy. We're just make sure we've clicked on it. Go to the width. We're going to click on 5 for 5 inches. We're going to hit enter. And now you can see that it's gone down to the size that we want. So I'm going to control plus just so we can make this bigger so we can see it better in the screen. And now we are going to trace this and create a cut file. So we're going to come over here to the tools panel and click on the trace panel, then click on select trace area, and then we're going to drag over all the joy. And you can see that it's highlighting in yellow the black, and I think I'm going to just bring up my threshold a little bit just to make it a little bit thicker, and then we're going to click on trace. So now you can see when I pull over the black, I've got this really great cut file that I can then send to the Silhouette and cut this out. So a couple things that I want you guys to keep in mind. This is a very delicate file, so please make sure that you are really careful as you're taking it off of your mat. And then also you may want to make sure that you have a new blade or a really nice sharp blade to do this, just because it is such a thin, delicate file. The next thing I would suggest is doing multiple cuts so you can stack them on top of each other. And that's what I did. I did 3 out of some cardstock. I stuck them on top of each other just so it had some really great dimension. And I love the way that looks. So definitely do more than one to get that great look. And then please make sure to have a pretty sharp blade just so you're getting some really clean cuts. But it can be done because you've seen mine and I definitely did it. So it can be done. All right. So in order to do multiple cuts, I'm just going to click on the joy and then again click on Alt and drag. So this is a universal shortcut. The Alt is how many programs allows you to go ahead and duplicate something. So that might be a shortcut that you want to learn. All right, so now I'm going to click off that joy and you can see that I've got 3 of them now, and I can go ahead and send that to the Silhouette.
All right, you guys, so you saw how you will cut out the joy and then print out the words separately, of course. Now in the tutorial, I did not change the type to red. The type is black in the tutorial, but you could just go ahead and go down to the function key that's within the layers panel and go to color overlay and then just change it to a red color or any color that you would like if you want it to be something other than black. I really do like the red. I think I made it with black at first and then I changed it to red afterwards. And then, like I said, you cut out your joy, and then I cut out 3, and I believe I said that in the tutorial. I did cut out 3, and then I stacked them on top of each other, and then I just used some glue to just tape it right onto the transparency. The glue I used was actually this Zig two-way glue, just because it's super thin and it works really well. And I like having it on vellum because you can see the calendar underneath, but you could do it however you wanted. You could use this joy for something else. This joy would actually be really great paper pieced. Like, I was thinking about that when I saw it in Silhouette, that you could actually make this really large and paper piece that. Like, I think that would be really cool. So anyway, that's how you put it together. So hopefully those of you who are interested are happy about getting the tutorial. You guys, I can't believe that December Daily is in a couple of days, and I really hope that you guys have an awesome start to your December. So if you guys have any questions about this, hopefully I didn't go too fast in the tutorial on my computer. Like I've said before, sometimes I know how to do stuff, and sometimes I assume you know how to do stuff, so I speed through it. So if you have any questions, just let me know. All right, you guys, we will see you next time.